Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. We got a Browns-Broncos Week 7 preview on schedule for today, along with the big news. The Baker Mayfield injury news. OBJ, here's what's on tap for today's show. We're going to go into all the Baker Mayfield injury news. He's not playing on Thursday night against the Broncos at home. OBJ also popping up on the injury report, because why not? What's one more at this point? We'll go through the whole matchup, a preview. Von Miller was talking some pretty big game. We'll look into that as well, and then we'll wrap it up with my keys to the game. But yes, the big news. Baker is out for Week 7. He's not going to be able to play. That shoulder injury that I was concerned about since the moment it happened has unfortunately caught up to him. It looks like the TJ Watt hit last week against the Cardinals may have been the final nail in the coffin on a short week. Unfortunately, the Iron Man is going to miss his first career start since taking over back in 2018 and Week 2 what it was against Tyrod Taylor. He has been the Iron Man, the workhorse for the Browns, and a 51-game streak of not missing a start. Baker was giving me major vibes of the Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, never going to miss a start, but unfortunately, all good things unfortunately have to come to an end. I mean, Russell Wilson's even missing his first game of his career this year, so it looks like it's just going to be one of those years for quarterbacks. But who knows where he's at shoulder-wise. Here's what Kevin Stefanski, the Browns head coach, had to say. Baker fought really hard to play. He's a competitor and obviously wants to be out there, but just couldn't make it on a short week. It's tough. That's a big blow. Let's not, pussyfoot around this. This sucks, right? You lose your starting quarterback. So Case Keenum is going to be the guy, all right? So what's your concern level with Case Keenum as the Browns starter? We'll get his notes up in a moment so you know what to expect, but just right off the bat, scale for me 1 to 10 down in the comments section what your concern level is. Here's what we know about Case Keenum. As we do a little bit of homework on him, it's his first start since Week 17, 2019. Back then he was playing with Washington. He went 2-8 that season as a starter. 62 career starts, so this is not an untested backup. If you don't know about him, he was once a great quarterback in college at Houston, has a couple records, and also was coached under Cliff Kingsbury. But enough about Case Keenum. It's going to be his entering his 10th season in the NFL, 27-35 overall as a starter. His biggest claim to fame is that he threw the Minneapolis Miracle back in the playoffs a couple of years ago, hooking up with Stephon Diggs against the Saints. Yeah, that was Keenum. You can kind of forget about that because he kind of fell off the map afterwards. But that's what we know about Keenum. Unfortunately, he's not the only one we're talking about in the show. We also have to talk about OBJ and his injury news. So here's what Josiah Anderson had to say. I'm told Browns wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is dealing with a grade 3 AC joint sprain per league source. My understanding is Beckham is still trying to do everything he can to be a game-time decision and play this week. We'll see how things evolve between now and then. That just sucks because you think it couldn't get worse. And Beckham left Week 6 for a little bit with the shoulder injury, eventually re-entered the game. He also added that he's been dealing with shoulder injuries since his time at LSU in college, so 7-8 years ago. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be an injury-plagued season for the Browns because here are some key players that are not going to be playing. Baker Mayfield, shoulder, out. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, both with calf injuries. They are both out. And then you got OBJ, who's a game-time decision. Oh, and I couldn't even fit Jedrick Wills and Jack Conklin onto the screen, who are battling ankle and knee injuries. At the time of recording this, I don't know what their status is. My guess is, though, on a short week, not looking good. I hope I'm wrong, but I have a bad feeling. But at the end of the day, next man up in Cleveland. No crying in Cleveland. That's got to be the mantra. That has to be the mindset going into this week. There's no crying in baseball, and there's definitely no crying in Cleveland. Cleveland's one of the toughest cities in America. We've seen this before. The Browns got beat up last year at points, and look what they did. They went into Pittsburgh, and Baker Mayfield was meeting his starting offensive lineman in the huddle in a playoff game and steamrolled the Steelers. So why not keep that train moving? But let's get into the matchup and the preview for this one, because the Broncos are coming into town, and they have their own skeletons in their closet they have to deal with. 3-3. They're also pretty banged up. Teddy Bridgewater, couldn't even fit that on the screen. He's dealing with a foot injury. But overall, the Broncos lead the series 24-6. Browns have won 3 straight on Thursday Night Football. However, their last home win against Denver, got to go back to 1989. I couldn't believe it, so I'm double checking right now. Yeah, last win was at Denver in 2018, and then back to 90 at Denver. Yep, 89 at Cleveland. But the Browns open up as 3-point favorites for now. I'm curious to see if the sports books will update this with the latest news. They definitely will. I don't know if that will swing it all the way to the Broncos' favor, but maybe get ahead of this right now. If you don't think the Browns stand a chance, I'm not going to tell you to bet against the Browns. I'll never do that. But if you want to do it, I don't control your wallet. But do me a favor. Predict the score down in the comments section. Let me know what you're thinking. You're going to get, if you get hit with the YouTube ad break at this point, just scroll on down. It's the pinned comment reply, and then come on back up, and I'll give you my score prediction in just a moment. My prediction, Browns 20-14. I don't know how, maybe I should change this. I don't want to change it, but that's what I've got right now. You can see there's tons of it's just tough, all right? Because I'm betting on Case Keenum to win. That's not a fun thing to do, but it's Thursday Night Football. I can just kind of picture Troy Aikman and Joe Buck right now. Actually, I don't even know if they're doing the game with baseball playoffs. But if they are, I can just kind of picture them going, Case Keenum coming out of nowhere. I don't know. That's what I picture. But here's the Broncos' last 3 games. They have not been pretty. If you thought the Browns have had a bad stretch-ish lately, Broncos have been worse. After opening up the season on a 3-0 start, they've dropped 3 in a row, losing twice at home. That third one was at the Steelers. But besides that, the Raiders game last week, that was brutal. I mean, I thought they were going to stomp on the Raiders with all the skeletons they've got going on. But no, the Raiders came in. But despite all this, Von Miller, he's pretty confident about the Broncos coming into this one. Here's what he had to say. I will play well in this game. I'm going to have a great game. I don't know who the tackle I'm going against is, but I'm going to kill him. Those are his words. I mean, that's tough to hear right there, but that's what he had to say. Here's what Von Miller, though, has done so far this season. It's kind of been a tale of 2 halves. Got off to a phenomenal start, picking up a handful. We got 4 sacks in the first 3 games, a couple QB hits at 6, 6 solo tackles. But the last 3 games, just half a sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 QB hits. It's been a tough stretch right there for Von Miller. I don't know if it's going to be Jedrick Wills or Jack Conklin on either side. Maybe it's Hudson. I'm not sure. Your guess is as good as mine at this point. We'll figure it out together. But Von Miller calling his shot right now. Let's see if that pans out. Also want to thank you guys. Browns fans, we reached 3,000 subscribers here on the Browns Report. That was an awesome feeling, and it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for watching the channel, subscribing, commenting, liking. I love what I do here, and it's all thanks to you. And if you're a first-time watcher, join the family. Go ahead and subscribe right now. Let's keep on climbing. 4K is coming up next. So, going back to Von, though, here are his stats when he plays Cleveland all time in his career. Just 4 games, mediocre. I mean, not 2.5 sacks. That's not bad through 4 games right there. 11 tackles, 4 QB hits right there. You got to love when your thumb's a little too fat. And so that's what Von Miller has done so far in his career against the Browns. But here's the offensive line depth chart for the Browns. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a makeshift one at this point because of how many injuries. It's impossible to keep up with. But I hope to see Wills and Conklin out there. At the time I'm recording this, maybe I'm even behind on the news. I haven't heard if either one of them is out or in this week. I haven't heard out, so I want to assume they're going to be in. But that's what it's looking like right there on the offensive line for the Browns. So, will Von Miller get a sack this week? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section. This Browns offensive line is tough. They are blue collar. They are gritty. They love to play in the trenches, and they are next man up, and there's no crying in Cleveland. So I'm going to hopefully give myself an N down below. But Von Miller is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, so never bet against him, in my opinion. But if you do want to bet, do it at BetUS. They have the best deals for you over there, and they hook you up with the 125% deposit bonus. Head on over to chatsports.com/bet and use the promo code Browns125. What they're going to do is they're going to give you a 125% deposit bonus on top of what you gave. So $100 in, you're looking at $225 to play with. If you want to bet on the Browns this week, by all means, knock yourself out. Personally, I'm betting on the under. I got a backup quarterback on the Browns in there, and I got Teddy Bridgewater, who's banged up, and a bad Broncos offense as of late. I'm going to take the under. I think it's at 42.5. Ride with me. I'll post my picks every week on my Twitter handle, on my Twitter account. How old am I? At Matthew Petey. Follow me if you haven't already. Now, let's get into my keys to the game. I got 3 keys. I love to have fun with this segment. It's not fun right now when the whole team is pretty much injured. So that's key number 1. Bubble wrap everyone. I'm not joking. I want this game playing with a Nerf football so that no one even stubs a finger, all right? That's how bad I don't want anyone getting hurt. So bubble wrap everyone, please. I can't take another injury. I just can't take another injury, especially when you're down your top 2 wide receivers potentially with Jarvis Landry and OBJ, which is going to lead us into key number 2. DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Rashard Higgins, and Anthony Schwartz, we need you. This is your big time to step up. I've loved what I've seen out of DPJ and Higgins so far. Loved what I saw out of Schwartz to start the season. Then he's kind of cooled off a little bit, but also it's a little crowded of a wide receiver room. All right, we got the stats for Donovan Peoples-Jones, Rashard Higgins, and Anthony Schwartz so far this season, who probably will have to have big-time roles for Case Keenum to help out their backup quarterback. DPJ has come up strong as of late. Higgins has been a solid wide receiver 3 all season long. And Schwartz, I loved what I saw from him in week 1 against the Chiefs. We're going to need a lot more of that in this one. So key number 2 for me, guys, we need you. You're looking like you could be down. Landry for sure, I think, and OBJ, too many J's going on, B's and initials. It could be down Odell Beckham Jr. So Peoples-Jones, Higgins, Schwartz, it is your time. This is a big-time game for you guys. Need them to step up huge. Key number 3, Myles Garrett. It is your turn, because if Von Miller is going to talk crap, maybe fire something back. You've been pretty fun to follow lately. Pretty much talking about the tombstones you put in your front yard. Would love to see a Teddy Bridgewater tombstone added to that collection, because if Von Miller is going to call his shot against Case Keenum and against whoever is playing tackle for the Browns, then you should do the same. Here's what Myles Garrett has done so far this season. 24 tackles, 9 tackles for loss. I think it's 7.5 sacks. Definitely 8 after last couple games. It's honestly impossible to keep track of how many it is. You think the number's too high, but it's not. 17 QB hits. So if Von Miller's going to go out there and talk big game, Myles Garrett, fire it back. Why not? Return the volley. Guys, call me out, though. Let me know if I missed any keys, if I nailed any of these keys. Sound off in the comments section right now. What keys did I miss?